Is everybody having fun yet?
I think I'm too old for this shit, man.
I was gonna say, what should we start off with? As I realized I didn't turn on my lights here. Is this fucking team win? I know you don't curse, DJ, but just indulge me for a second. Or is this I'm too old for this shit win? I think it's a little bit of both. Doesn't it?
It's a little bit of both, man. This fucking team and I am too old for this shit. My God, I thought there was a point there in the first quarter where I thought maybe they're gonna have enough to have it not a laugher, but a comfortable victory. But listen,
for 5 minutes, it was like, oh, maybe all those people who were like, yeah, Knicks in 5, maybe they're all gonna be right.
I heard Knicks in 4 talk, and listen, we'll talk.
Me and you were on an island, by the way. I said Knicks in 6, and if you asked me, you can't pick Knicks in 6. It either has to be Knicks in 5 or Knicks in 7. I would have gone 7. You went 7. We'll see if what happens. Anyway, continue.
Well, look, I mean, getting game 1 is massive. If you had dropped this game, it was at least going to be a 6-game series. So potentially you could prove those Knicks in 5, potentially Knicks in 4 predictions right. But
I hope so.
I hope so too. But and I'll let you lead us off here, but just another grind, another just intense victory. And there's a little bit of muscle memory for me where I just didn't feel, though, at the end, I felt more at ease, maybe because I'm watching so many of these that I'm just like, whatever happens, wherever the chips may fall, like let's see where it happens. But I don't know, man. Why don't you lead us off and just take us through what was another thrilling game 1 victory?
I am, if I'm being completely honest, I'm still in a little bit of shock. I remember 11 years ago very well, and talk about a city that was hyped up for a game 1 against the Indiana Pacers. I know, damn well know you watched that game.
Absolutely.
Watched it with a couple of buddies in a Midtown bar with the woman who would become my wife. And shout out to Dolores. She was watching this whole game with me and rooting like crazy. Talk about someone who's getting too old for this shit. And it was the most deflating feeling in the world because you're like, that feels like a harbinger of bad things. And they lost that series in 6 games. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching how this game is unfolding. And I'm watching how this game is unfolding. Down by 9 points, I believe, in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And I'm like, holy shit. And I was thinking to myself, look, we're going to get into some of the bad because there was some bad tonight, Deej. But I was telling myself, all right, if they drop this game, I still think they have it in them because I still think they're the better team. I think they have it in them to play better because I did not think that they played well until you got down to the last. I don't know at what point they were like, oh shit, we should probably start playing like the team across from us is playing. And I don't want to disparage the Knicks' effort out of the gate. Like, look, they came out and they played Knicks basketball to a certain extent, but there was a if they were at a 9.5, it felt like Indiana was at a 10 for a lot of this game, and especially Indiana's bench.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, I mean, let's call a spade, which leads me to, I guess, the question of the night, if not the question of the series. Can you win a second-round series against a really good opponent in the NBA with 6 guys? I guess if one of them is Michael Jordan and the other 2 are his super friends, you have to start. Start with the fact that they probably stole this one. That's where you have to start. But after you get past that, how is this not? For as much as Jalen Brunson did something tonight that I think it's literally only Michael Jordan ever did it before, right? 35 points and 5 assists in 5 straight playoff games. I'll double check it right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the only. I think it's him and Jordan. I'm going to double check it. Okay. And then 35 or 40 or more straight points in 4 consecutive playoff games. No, sorry, 30 and 5. Oscar, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. Excuse me. Oscar, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. 40 or more in 4 straight is West King and Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan, the name in common on both those lists.
Yes.
it's him, and I want to make it all about him because he's doing things that never been done before. But then you look at the game from Josh Hart. And I got to tell you, Jalen Brunson did a thing that is that we're like is doing things that's only the greatest players in the history of the NBA have done. And to me, this was the Josh Hart game. And then on top of that, tie game, everything on the line. You want to talk about bowling balls? You want to talk about that's not an onion. That's a bag of onions. You know, my Lord.
Big Vidalia onion, man. That is like serious. And we've talked about it, right? Dante, get him pass away. Not only is he spacing, but he's spacing, and this is something that we talked about when he was signed here. He could space 28 to 30 feet, and that rotation is now just a few feet longer, and you get a clean look out of it.
Yeah.
Incredible second half for DiVincenzo.
The three incredible game. Really, I mean, if you look at, he started slowly. I believe he started 2 of 8, 2 of 9, something along those lines, maybe 2 of 7, something along those lines. Finished 10 of 17, finished 5 of 9 from deep. The 3 Nova Knicks combined for 91. 91, if my math, no, 92, excuse me, my math is bad. 92 of the Knicks 121 points. They got only 3 points from the bench all night. The bench only played 27 minutes all night. Credit to Mitchell Robinson, made some plays there in the second half.
Second half, yeah.
Second half, made some plays.
Got some hands on. He got his hand on a couple balls. Out of some offensive rebounding. Yep,
absolutely. And also, I thought it's the game for the Nova Knicks. Credit Isaiah Hartenstein. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein, was it his best game? No. I thought he was okay. I thought he was fine. And then also, but I'm curious what you think, if you disagree with that. And then OG Anunoby, not OG Anunoby's best game, but when it came down to winning time, who's there to make some massive, massive, massive defensive plays, but OG Anunoby.
Yeah, he had the steal in the left corner off help in the strong side, and then he actually got a stop on Siakam, who gave him some trouble in with those isolation post ups. Now, if I'm Tibbs, I look at those shots, and I know there was a couple in the first half where it looked like Anunoby in the second quarter was gassed, and Siakam sealed him on one and got almost a layup off a post up, and another one that he got pretty deep positioning. In the second half, I thought even the Siakam makes were tough contested shots that he's a great offensive player, so he's going to make some of those. But I thought you can live with the result despite the make, because the process was fine. You weren't sending help, and then he ended up stopping him once on that spin move on the right side of the basket, and then the steal. Really big defensive plays for him. But I mean, you talk about the minutes, and I just can't. It's rare that you have a starting 5 play combined 32 minutes in a game. It's a very unique thing where you have a 5-man unit play 32 combined minutes as a group. And the Knicks starting 5 ended up outscoring the Pacers by 13 points. And that's your ball game, because they were able to withstand what was a barrage of points by the Pacers bench, especially in that first quarter, first run. And then in the second quarter, where it just looked like they were playing at a different speed. This was one of those things where I came into the game thinking that the Pacers' depth was going to be a problem. It's the primary reason why I thought this series was going 7. What I didn't factor in as much was the amount of speed, athleticism, and just bounciness that lineup has when they go to McConnell, when they go to Toppin, when they go to Jackson, who gave Mitchell Robinson all kinds of fits in that second quarter. And they just were, it seemed like the Knicks had their early run where they were playing well, and then, whether it's fatigue or whatever the case was, didn't have the same verve in most of that second quarter. And the Pacer reserves took advantage of that. So and it worried me going into the second half. But listen, I thought there was going to be maybe an expansion of the rotation, and Tibbs was like, expand. I am contracting because Precious, you played some minutes in the first half. You're not playing in the second half. We're going with who I trust. And right now, with 6 guys.
Let's just say the numbers. Josh Hart didn't sit in this game. I mean, I'm going to read his stat line, because it's not a real stat line. Josh Hart played 48 minutes, scored 24 points on 13 shots, mind you, hit 1 3, 13 rebounds, 4 on the offensive glass. That is half of New York Knicks' offensive rebounding total. Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson combined for 3 offensive rebounds. Josh Hart had 4 by himself, 13 rebounds total, 8 assists, 3 steals, did have 5 turnovers, including one that really could have cost the Knicks if they didn't get a little fortunate down the stretch and if they didn't employ the talents of Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo. But I feel like we've said this a few times already in this postseason. Was this the best game of Josh Hart's career? It has to be in the conversation.
Wasn't he at points in that game the only Knick that seemed to have a verve, to seem to be able to match the athleticism and the pace the Pacers were playing with? There were times in the second. Go ahead.
No, he was the defibrillator. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Defibrillator. Yeah.
Defibrillator.
The keeps you alive. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to paint it like the Knicks were a dead team walking out there, but there was something we saw in the last 6, 7, 8 minutes, whatever it was. That's them on 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were not at that the whole game, with the exception of Josh Hart, who played all 48 minutes.
He is, and it's getting to the point where it's becoming customary, and I'm glad we're sitting with this a little bit and letting his performance marinate a bit, because it is extraordinary. It's why he's one of one. He's one of one. The amount, and I keep waiting for the moment where I'm going to watch him, whether it's a grimace, whether it's a motion to the bench, whether it's a possession where he takes one off. I've never seen him take a possession off, despite playing the entire game at the level that he's playing with. It is incredible, and yet he's still able to do enough in the skill department as a finisher, as a shooter when he has the opportunities and he needs to make a big shot. We've seen that time and time again. As a free throw shooter, which I don't have the numbers, but I feel like his free throw shooting, well, he missed a couple.
He missed 3 tonight, including one in the fourth there that was potentially big. Ended up going 5 of 8. Yeah.
5 of 8. All right. So not great from that area, but then the second half, I feel like he was, with all that's pushing against him and all that is being asked of him, as the only source of transition offense, as the only source of playmaking in a non-half court setting. It's another incredible performance in what is shaping up to be not only the Josh Hart game time and time again, but the Josh Hart playoff run outside of the obviously the Jalen Brunson. He is now certified himself as a capital S superstar and an MVP and all that.
We're gonna get
Josh Hart
is
right. Yeah, Josh Hart is right there in terms of impact, in terms of like how important he is for this team winning these playoff games. Incredible.
I mean, I remember after they made the Josh Hart trade last year and the team won, nine games in a row. Mm-hmm. And even after the first couple of games, some of the old heads were, and I've said this before, some of the old heads were coming out of the woodwork and being like, I remember the DeBusschere trade. This gives me the same vibes. And I would honor those comments because the vibes were amazing. And at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, well, Dave DeBusschere's a top 75 player of all time. He is, he's you could argue he's the 4th or 5th greatest Knick of all time. So Dave DeBusschere, not a role player. Josh Hart is starting to make a case for himself as forget one of the great role players in Knick history. Man, he's never making an all-star team. It's never going to happen. So that's I think the definition of a role player, a guy who's never going to sniff an all-star team no matter what they do. Mm-hmm. He is, how many role players in the history of this franchise can you point to and be like, oh yeah, definitively better than him? Now, if you want to tell me Charles Oakley was better because he actually was a role player that became an all-star, or John Starks, even the same thing. Those guys were different kind of animals. And more than that, it was a different sport back then. What Josh Hart is doing, Josh Hart could have played in the early 2000s. He could have played in the 90s. He could have played in the 80s. He could have played in the 70s. He could have played in the 50s. Probably would have been a center in the 50s. It's unreal. And the reason why we are able to appreciate having a player of this nature is because they have a guy who is... Here's where I'm at with Jalen Brunson. He scored 40 tonight, right? What did he finish with? Did he finish with exactly 40? 43, excuse me.
43. Yep.
Finished with 43 points. And I'm like, I'm at the point where I'm like expecting this, which is insane and so completely and totally unfair. DJ, he scored 43 points on 26 shots. He went to the line 14 times. He made all 14. I can't imagine there have been too many perfect nights from the line in playoff history with players shooting that many more than 14. I have not paid attention to Twitter because there's been a lot of stuff coming in. Although here we go. Here's another one from Knicks PR. Brunson became the first player in NBA history to record 40 points and five or more assists in 4 straight playoff games. So again, like it's not hyperbole. He's doing things that have never been done before. To say nothing of the fact that he's doing it at this size. The 4 names that I read before, what was it? Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Oscar Robertson, and Kobe Bryant. Those guys are all wings, you know? Even the other list, about 40 or more in 4 straight playoff games. Jerry West, Bernard King, Michael Jordan. Like, Jerry West is the smallest one of the group, and, like, Jerry West was he wasn't, you know, we're not talking about Tiny Archibald here. Like, he's the logo. This should not be possible, which is maybe why it's not even overwhelming me as like, how is this happening? Because it just seems like a dream. And I don't know how else to describe it because it should not be possible.
No, it should not be. And what was amazing tonight was that he did it in a way that he has not been doing it, where time and time again, especially in the second half, they were just trying their damnedest to get Haliburton switched onto him.
Yeah.
And Nembhard, to his credit, wouldn't allow himself to be screened. And the Brunson in any pick and roll situation, it was a rare event where the Knicks would get 2 to the ball, where they would get the Pacers in rotation in the first half. Brunson had to do this basically via isolation, which has not been a great source of offense this year. So, I mean, as a team, the Knicks scored 1.6 points per possession out of isolation. That is a extraordinarily high number, and that is almost all Jalen Brunson driven. He made tough shot after tough shot. Listen, you've talked about this. I've mentioned it. There's a few archetypes that could really give him problems. It's like the switchable center. It is the long, athletic, rangy wing. We saw that in the Sixers series where Oubre gave him trouble at times. Nembhard, for all his ability as a defender, he stayed in front almost every time. There weren't a ton of blow-bys, but when Jalen Brunson wants to rise up, his visual to the basket is much cleaner against Nembhard than against any of the Sixer, other than Maxey, any of the Sixers that he had to play in round 1. So he made, I think, only 1 3 on the night,
and it was
Brunson.
It was a big
nothing
one. Oh my
on
God.
that possession. It was basically him standing at the top of the key, like, all right, there's 3-4 seconds left, 2 seconds left on the all right, I'll shoot it. Cashed it.
And it was
an amazing shot. Very highly contested shot. So you mentioned the free throws, 14 of 14, and then all the shot making against really as strong a contest as Nembhard could put forth in most occasion. He's an incredible shot maker, and he's insane. 6'1". I love his release point. He's made to make shots over guys. He shoots more like he's 6'4" in terms of like where his release is actually. He's actually releasing the ball like it's a unique feature of his, and he takes full advantage of it. And he did it masterfully tonight. His jump shooting in this game in 2-point range was extraordinary. I can't wait to go back and watch it again. Like, it was a masterful performance in a way where, in a situation where it required it. Like, there was just not the Pacers, to their credit, weren't allowing themselves to be put into heavy rotation. They were like, Jalen Brunson is going to shoot us out of this game, and we're going to just live with it. And he did. And it started in the first quarter where he hit a couple of shots, and I was like, all right, is Carlisle going to adjust to this? They were tough makes. The first one in the right mid-range area, and then the second one, a turnaround jump shot against Nembhard on the right around the left elbow. First 2 shots of the game, Carlisle, to his credit, I think, didn't adjust and was like, all right, I'm going to force this guy to make shots like that all game. And God damn it, he did. And that's why he's an MVP candidate, and that's why he's a superstar, because you could do the thing you wanted to do as a defense, and he still scored 43 on 26 shots.
We're at the
incredible.
We're at the point now where, like, look, MVPs are kind of a finicky beast. Like, there will be some years where you'll get guys who will win it, which in what are not like all-time great seasons. We're in the midst of a stretch here for Jokic where it's like nobody's getting MVP over that guy. And like, look, we may be in line for like some Lucas seasons and some some Wemby seasons and
Giannis is still 29. Yeah,
Giannis is still young, and Anthony Edwards. Jalen Brunson is good enough to win an MVP. Like, there have been MVP seasons in the past that have featured the level of play that Jalen Brunson is exceeding right now. That's not a hot take. That's not like, it's not because we're sitting here. I'm wearing a Jalen Brunson jersey. Shout out my buddy John Schmielk. That's not any of that. It's just, that's a fact. That is an absolute fact. We could sit here and talk about Jalen Brunson for hours, but part of the craziness about what he's doing is, like, again, what can you say about him? Because we've said it all, but we will talk about him more. I do want to get to a couple things before I let you go. Look, I don't want to go too heavy on the X's and O's tonight because I have the pleasure of having you and Benji, I think, both of you guys tomorrow night, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I want to save some of the nitty gritty for that. Well, let me start by acknowledging two things. One, the Knicks were fortunate late in this game. Off the top of my head, one, that was not a kickball. And you can't apparently review something that is not a kickball, or something that is called the kickball and it may not be a kickball. Carlisle had a challenge. I wasn't able to use the challenge there. So that, they only showed one replay. I didn't think it was a kickball. They made the call that it was. It was very lucky that they called it that way. That's number one. Number two, and both broadcasters said it, and I don't think that they were wrong to say it. I'll throw it to you on this one, though. You're not getting that call usually on Turner. Yeah. In that situation.
I agree. And I said it I was doing the playback with XJ. We both were adamant that was a rough call in that moment. Yeah. But I think it's one of those where DiVincenzo, he hits the deck. You're probably, your instinct as an official is to call something, because and I don't know what an offensive foul is anymore in the NBA.
Well, nobody knows.
Clear on that. I don't think officials know, like, when it's a very ambiguous call 9 times out of 10. It's very frustrating. It's one of the more frustrating things that the NBA has yet to figure out, the officials specifically. I didn't think that should have been called. And once and now if you're a Pacer side of things, the crappy part is, like, once you call it, on every screen there's 4 or 5 things you can critique and say, oh no, but that's illegal. That's illegal.
Tough to overturn.
You can't overturn it because there's just so many things. Like, was he moving? Was he turning? Were his feet outside the width of his body? Was the base too wide? Like, there's so many things, not counting the fact that he may have not allowed DiVincenzo a chance to get around him by setting the screen too late. But again, it's a tough call to make in that area. And the Knicks were fortunate that it happened.
Very. Now, the only thing I'll say, and it's a little asterisk / caveat, whatever. There was a defensive foul on DiVincenzo within the last minute or two.
Where Neesmith kind of flopped a little bit.
Yeah, and you could say the same thing about that call, that's not usually a call you're going to see in that spot either. True. DiVincenzo was livid at it. So, Look, not apples to apples. I do at least want to point that out in fairness. And that's the stuff that's the referee stuff. Yeah. And then just in terms of getting a little lucky, you overcame some less than ideal execution there in the last minute. Brunson,
and Jalen's part of it. Yeah. He's a part of it. And they struggled all night, seemingly getting the ball in bounds. Pacers were showing a lot of they were pressuring a lot in the 94 feet. McConnell was great at it. The Knicks didn't seem, and Hart was the designated inbound player for most of those, if not all of them. And it didn't seem like he knew exactly where to go at all times. Like, there was the one to Mitch where Mitch was the only player open, and you could tell Hart second guessing himself, but then had to throw it to him because the clock was about to run down, or the 5 second, and then Mitch at the last moment turns his head and it's a turnover. So it wasn't just like the last 2 minutes of the game. It was almost the entire game where they just struggled in that area. But you listen, you steal the win and you hope that is an area that you could figure out a way to clean it up pretty easily going into game 2.
That stuff I'm not as worried about cleaning up. And now I'm going to get to the other part of it. The pick and roll coverage, and they were doing a fantastic job of making sure that they were putting the Knicks in a position where, oh, you want to switch this? Well, guess who's going to wind up on Miles Turner? It's going to be Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
And they were creative in doing it, and credit to them. You know, we always talk about how, Thibodeau team, guys train their bodies to play this many games, this many minutes. Well, the Indiana Pacers have been training themselves to play with this movement offense and like constant flow and everything. So they are experts at putting other teams in binds, in serious binds. And boy, do they put the Knicks in a lot of binds tonight. And the Knicks need to get their stuff together in terms of, okay, when are we switching? When are we fighting? And all this stuff. They did not have their stuff together enough tonight. I am hopeful it will improve. And again, we're going to get more into this a lot tomorrow night. So just like some brief thoughts on that.
I thought it got better late, and I thought the Pacers, to their detriment, went away from it a little bit.
They did.
And that tends to happen late in games for, there were a myriad of reasons, but it felt like the Knicks never really figured out what they were wanting to do. The Turner dives to the front of the rim were crushing at times. And it was, as you mentioned, like forcing the switch, and Turner does a good job of sort of not even allowing you to get off him. So as soon as like Brunson hedges, like Turner's already sort of like walking him into the paint, and then you're basically in no man's land. So it's not saying anything that's unique or creative, but the number one way to slow them down is to have a heavy switch defense. It is not something the Knicks have that is they can go to with consistency. I don't think that Tibbs, that's not his modus or MO. Now, the personnel wise, it also makes it a little more challenging. I think there's going to be have to be a decision of the Mitchell Robinson piece of this, because I presume he's going to him in game 2 as the first big off the bench, but I would be very concerned about those minutes tonight. And I would be wondering personally, if I'm the head coach, if you would want Precious in the game just to have the option to switch those actions. And Precious can hold up on an island against any of their guards, especially Haliburton.
Well, Hartenstein held up early against Haliburton, and we didn't see it that much more again. I'm just worried, and again, we'll get into this more tomorrow night, but like, if you're going to start switching everything, how easy is it going to be to, again, get the Turner on Brunson matchup, or maybe a Siakam on Brunson matchup and stuff? Like, can you if you're going to switch everything, how hard is it to just keep Brunson out of the switches, but like switch everything else? And then the only other thought I had is like, all right, well, why are they being put in this sort of bind? And I mean, it just feels like it's all in an effort to prevent the Pacers offense from like getting downhill. Because when Pacers offense, and specifically Haliburton, although TJ McConnell too, when it starts getting downhill and they start whipping around these passes, then it's over. Then you're in the blender, right? And then it's like you just hope they miss. And by the way, the Knicks, fortunate tonight. Pacers only took 26 threes. That maybe I'll give a little credit for the defense for. Only hit 10. There were a lot of open looks in the ones that they missed. So again, it was a fortunate win for the Knicks, 100%.
Well, I will say to the Knicks' credit, 22 of those came above the break. So listen, if you're going to give up open threes,
thank you.
That's the area that you're right. They only took 4 from the corners, made 3 of them. So you live with that. Now, I will say, I came away thinking, the Knicks were not carved up, but they were tested pretty severely in pick and rolls. So I'm just looking at the numbers here. The Pacers ran 40 per the tracking data. Pick and roll ball handler possession. So basically all the Haliburton stuff, 40 of them. They only scored 0.85 points per possession. So it's a little bit lower than you would think.
Low for what we saw. So
it's not a great number. And I thought it might have been more of the Pacers going away from it late and just not getting a ton of success
maybe
out of it in the second half. Now, again, it's going to require like a rewatch, which I'll make sure to do prior to our program tomorrow. But it is the Haliburton piece of it is interesting because he really didn't make the Knicks pay that often tonight. Do you have his final?
I have it
stat
right
line?
here. So, and was going to be so if I'm Rick Carlisle right now, I'm looking at my team and I'm going to be like, we got jobbed by the refs. And our guy who we know can be better was 2 of 6, 2 of 5 from 3. Tyrese Haliburton took 1 shot inside the arc. Now, look, back spasms. He's been dealing with a hip thing for 3 months. May have turned his ankle there on that last play. Hamstring, excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah.
A hamstring. May have turned his ankle on that last play. 6 points. He was a minus 12 in his minutes. 8 assists. 3 turnovers. 8 assists, 3 turnovers. It's you're telling your team, look, Tyrese is going to be better. We'll hopefully we'll get a better whistle. Like we can. They're not getting any deeper. Right. That's the other thing I'm telling my team. That team over there is not getting any deeper. Let's keep our foot on the gas. Let's not get discouraged. That's what I'm telling my team. But yeah, Tyrese was not great tonight.
Yeah, and he just hasn't been all playoffs. I feel like he's been okay. He in the Milwaukee series. I felt like he was, in let's make the right play. Let's move. Let's keep it moving. All the things that make him a phenomenal point guard were present in that series and were present tonight in stages. But what was making him like a borderline, I don't know if he was an MVP candidate at one point, but like a close to a top 15 player, certainly a top 5 offensive player at a point.
I mean, after 35 or so games, I had him on my first team All NBA.
Yeah, he was that level of a player, and it was predicated not only on his passing, but the shooting off the dribble at a pick and roll. Like that feature has been gone for a long time, not just a few weeks. We're talking a few months. And it could be the hamstring, it could be the back issue that you've mentioned. But the point is, I feel the Knicks were and need to lean into this a little more. Just make him shoot you out of a game. Do the thing that Rick Carlisle tried to do to Jalen Brunson and the Knicks and say, listen, we're not gonna let all the ancillary pieces beat us. You're gonna have to do it. That's where the Knicks need to be in terms of the Haliburton piece, because he has not shown any ability to consistently make shots or create looks for himself. That's the other part that he just isn't getting.
He's not
shots off.
TJ McConnell is by far at this point a better shot creator. And my God, do the Knicks need to have a huddle about what the F to do about this little shit. Josh Hart said it, so I can say it about this little shit.
Well, thank God he only plays. So he played 22 minutes tonight, 18 points on 16 shots. He doesn't get to the free throw line, and he can't make a three that where he's not completely unguarded.
Made the one. Well, it was his foot on the line, so they took it.
In the corner there, he had a foot on the line. So,
by the way, sorry, the Knicks had a point taken away. I don't know if you noticed
104 at one point.
Why was that? We never.
I don't know. I think TNT had the score wrong because it was 104-109.
Okay.
I think the TNT broadcast had the score wrong.
Whatever it is.
Sorry, it was 104 at one point, and then it was 104-103. And I'm like, what the hell happened?
I was confused. But anyway, McConnell. So actually, now that I'm looking at it, I mean, look, 18 points on 16 shots is actually not a great game. So maybe whatever. Maybe it's not a big deal.
He felt like he impacted the game though in a unique way in the second quarter, or the way he came in the first quarter. But in the first half, like I felt like he was an important piece.
Look, their bench. Ben Shepherd, 18 minutes, plus 13 points. TJ McConnell, 22 minutes, plus 9 points, 18 off the bench. We haven't said his name yet, but credit to him. Came in and absolutely, you want to talk about a game that he had in his own stomping grounds. Obi Toppin, man, hats off to you, buddy, because you came in and you showed the Knicks organization and really, let's call a spade, this coach who had never fully bought in. Right. Mm-hmm. And you showed him like, look, it might only be as a 15 to 20 minute guy off the bench, which we played 19 minutes tonight. Right.
Yeah.
That's probably all he's ever going to be. But in that time, boy, did he impact winning 19 minutes plus 4. And then Isaiah Jackson, man, only 13 minutes. Very interesting that they did not go back to him more in the second half. I wonder what Pacers post-game shows are saying about that tonight, right now.
Yeah, he was a beast. I mean, he had a couple like rear contest blocks, changed the game in his first run there. I don't know. Maybe listen, he's obviously has a beat on his players. Maybe he knows that there is considering the effort level and like what all the energy stuff, that there's a limit to that. And maybe he just had he capped it obviously pretty early, but yeah, I thought he was a major problem for the Knicks. You steal games in series, and you usually have to steal several of them if you're going to make a long postseason run. And this one is classic. You stole this victory, and I don't get. And I don't know how you were thinking when Jalen Brunson had a couple just really odd decision making, like to throw the ball out of the player to regain the possession late in the game instead of calling a timeout.
Well, that was strange. And then it ended the one where Tibbs uses challenge and it ended up being Knicks ball. That was awfully cavalier. It was like I feel very uncomfortable sitting here and criticizing a guy who, again, doing things that it's like only top 10 all-time players have ever done. That's the territory we're in.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
It was a little uncharacteristic there at the end. Absolutely.
Yeah, but he obviously just was able to figure it out. Where do you think they go with the rotation piece of it? Because
let's end there. Now I talked about what I would be saying if I was Carlisle. If I'm Tibbs, I'd be like, well, if I'm Tibbs, I'd be cursing a lot more than I'm going to be. I'll curse here, but I'd politely tell my team.
And you would have a beautiful amber beard instead of
that's exactly it. I need to shave though. I need to get a haircut. I need to shave. I'd be like, look, we're not defending like that again. We're going to get that shit sorted out. And I guess the nice thing about it is I don't know that the Pacers have like some adjustment on offense. I mean, this is just what the Pacers do, So it's just about, all right, maybe it's a matter of like, we got to see it. We got to see it for a game. We got to see it for 2 games. We got to see it for 3 games. What I was worried about was, okay, maybe the Knicks are going to take a little while to get used to it. Are they going to, is that going to cause them to lose game 1 at home? I do think getting game 1 is massive. I would love to get game 2. I don't think game 2 is as imperative as game 1 because now at this point, it's like, look, at very least, make it to 2 after 4. We all hope that it's going to be a lot better than that, obviously. Yeah. But like you got the one you really had to get. They'll be better defensively. There is no like I don't even know what, like I'm picturing like the movie The Fly, where he goes into the chamber and he comes out of the other. There's nothing back there in the locker room that's going to produce a human. This is who they got now.
And
do I think well no, I'll throw it. I was gonna just say, like, do I think Deuce will be better? Like, yeah, I think Deuce will probably be a little bit better. He didn't look like he belonged on the floor tonight. Mitchell Robinson,
he's got his hands full with TJ McConnell. It's like his kryptonite in a way.
It's very strange. I mean, I thought we were going to get some Burks. I didn't think Precious himself was bad. I just like what my surprise was, whether it was Rachua or whether it was Burks, I expected the 8th man to play with Brunson. Maybe that's the adjustment that we get, or alternatively, is he looking at this and being like, look, I don't want to disrupt my bread and butter at all. Like you just quoted the lineup data for when the Knicks had all 5 starters out there. Is Tibbs looking at this and be like, look, I gotta maximize that. And then it's about survival in the other time. So I'm not going to lessen what I know works in an attempt to figure out something new that may work and may not work. And does he divert course on that? We don't know.
I don't think there's every indication he's not going to divert course. I feel like he is. And I think there's valid points on either side. I would have liked to see more expansion of the rotation. It's not going to be there. The Achua minutes at the 4 They were rough, especially offensively, and not because of him. Listen, it's not his fault. It just is what it is with the spacing, with Josh Hart obviously in the game as well. With the center, it just is not tenable. We saw this story during the regular season. It's not a good one, and I didn't think we were going to have to relive it in the playoffs. But there's going to be this is a war of attrition that just feels like, big picture, if you're looking to make a significant run here beyond this series, do you have to look at the bigger picture here, even if, and this is not how Tibbs thinks. I know that I'm saying this knowing the head coach is going to view this as, I need to win tomorrow. I need to win the game after that. He's not thinking like the Boston series potentially. I know that. And maybe he shouldn't. And that's valid. But I feel like for this team to really maximize their run here, there's going to have to be a change in some way to give something to these guys to rest a little bit. But I don't see it happening.
The freaking loss of Bogey. You called it out. You're the only person I saw really go hard on this. You were like, you weren't pussyfooting around. Like, you were like, this is massive in this series in particular. Like,
you're not going to expose him as much defensively.
Nope.
He didn't shoot great in the
25 minutes easy in this game.
Yes. And he would have loosened things up. You could have theoretically given Brunson more of a break and run some offense through him. He probably would have figured out a way to get some decent looks against this particular defense. It's a big loss. Yeah.
I mean, 100%. Look, and then but look, let's end. Here's where we're gonna end. Well, actually, we'll get to our. I've monopolized too much of your time. You need sleep. I'll end with you here. This gets us back to. We'll finish with this. The absurdity of the fact that this team can continue to win games like this when they are missing ostensibly their second best player and the guy that they traded for, who they thought at the time that they traded for him was going to be at least their sixth man, and maybe a guy who would be even more of a significant figure for them than that. I'll go back to the thing I said about Brunson. It should not be possible what they're doing. They continue to find a way to do it. I don't quite know how they how they continue to figure out a way to do it. They got a little assistance tonight, by the way. Zach Zarba in the pool report, he said it was not a kickball. So, they got fortunate tonight. You hope that good fortune will propel them to a series win, even though they got their hands cut out for them. But man, this fucking team, what can you say?
The only thing I'll finish with this. The offensive rebounding was a major narrative. It was in the 76er series. Will be in this one. The Pacers held the Knicks in check in the first half, and as was a theme as the series with the 76ers went along, the Knicks in the second half managed to just poke enough holes in the offensive rebounding area and ended up getting 13 second chance points, 6 offensive rebounds in the second half. It's not an amazing number. They've certainly offensive rebounded better in halves before, but it's just enough to eke out a victory. And it's that when you talk about how do they keep doing it? How does Josh Hart in minute probably 38 come diving in and the two-handed rebound, and how does Hartenstein continue to get hands on ricochets and create all second chances? It's just doesn't make sense. It's flies in the face of everything we've been told, especially with this sport, with all the load management stuff, with everything we've been talked about. The fact that this team is doing what they're doing it's one of the more extraordinary things I've ever had the pleasure of witnessing. That's why we, and not just you and I, but especially you and I, because of where we've come from as fans and where we cut our teeth as fans in the 90s. And it is a special group that continues to defy the odds in terms of the amount of bodies and the amount of energy and the amount of effort. And I'm thrilled to keep watching them, obviously. And they have a chance in game 2 to really step on their throats. And there's certainly some things to clean up, but great start. We'll take the good fortune. We'll take the win. You steal them, and you need to steal some in a long playoff runs, as I mentioned before. And This is one you stole, but no one. You need to apologize to no one. It's a good. Playoff wins are playoff wins.
Yeah, no. Look, Knicks have been on the wrong end of stuff. Every team's on the wrong end of things sometimes. You still, at the end of the day, need to take the good fortune and make something of it. And the Knicks did that. Yeah. Was it a kickball? No. Did Dante DiVincenzo make not even the shot of his life, because he did that last series, but it's right up there on the, on that possession. Yes, he did. So credit to them. DJ Zulo, I'm going to talk to you more in depth about the X's and O's tomorrow with Benji. I cannot wait to my role tomorrow when I talk to both of you guys is just, I'm like tossing the softball up, and you guys just go, it's not even that. You know who I am? I'm the is there a sport where somebody like tosses I'm the ref. I'm tossing the ball up, and you guys just go back and forth with it. There it is.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of the night. I'm gonna try to rewatch at least the first half, so I don't have too much to do tomorrow. But fun to talk about these wins with you.
Yeah.
Have a great night and enjoy it.
Special stuff here. Thank you, DJ.
All right.
Shout out to DJ Zulo. If you're not already doing so, go follow him on Twitter. Like, he's just unbelievable with his analysis, with his commentary, with everything. I also want to shout out my brother, who just texted me, and I think my mom, both my brother and my mom, both watching. Shout out to mom. Shout out to my brother Coco, and shout out to our friends at Penn 6. Best place you're gonna watch a Knick game or really do anything around Madison Square Garden. I will probably be making another appearance there at some point in this series, so I'll talk about that soon. And what else? All right, let's get to our categories and segments and things, and then we'll get to the Super Chats. I'm sure we got a lot of excited people out there. So first things first, our autograph player of the game, presented, of course, by Autograph. Use code KFS. Get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. We've been touting the Autograph app nonstop. It's a great thing. So go download that. Again, use code KFS. Look, I can't believe I'm gonna fucking do this. Jalen Brunson literally did a thing that has never been done before in terms of consecutive games with 40 or more points and 5+ assists. Michael Jordan didn't do it. LeBron James didn't do it. Kobe Bryant didn't do it. Freaking Oscar nobody did it. And yet I'm giving the player of the game to Josh Hart. Am I insane? Probably a little bit. Might I have a change of heart when I award my stars of the game either tonight or in another newsletter tomorrow? Possibly. Jalen Brunson is one of one, and he's doing things that, again, I don't think anybody's ever really done for this franchise before. They don't win this game without Josh Hart. And I'm not sure they're in this. Here's the thing. Jalen Brunson ended up winning them the game, and Dante DiVincenzo as well. OJ Anunoby on defense, all that stuff. We talked about it already. I don't think they're in a position to even be in this game late without Josh Hart. He made a play with had to be under about 5 minutes to go. I'll look up the time now, where he got to the line, got fouled, got to the line. It was an offensive rebound, got to the line, and then made one of two, got his own offensive rebound, and then shot 2 more free throws and made both of those. Like, this guy's... Oh, excuse me. No, sorry. He made the basket and got fouled. That's what it was. He made the basket and got fouled. I'm remembering now. Missed the free throw, got the offensive rebound, and then I believe made 1 or 2 from there. That was the missed free throw that I was thinking of. He's insane. He's insane. He does things that like nobody else does, and we're just really lucky to have him on our team. And I don't know where the Knicks would be without Josh Hart, and I'm really happy that we don't have to find out. So, wait, did I get hold on? Third time's a charm. Made it was an and one, missed the free throw, got the offensive rebound, put it back. So it was a 4-point play. That was what I thought it was. Insane play. Absolutely insane play. So Josh Hart, congratulations. You're the player of the game, presented by Autograph. Next up, the Unified Healing Road to Recovery. Go to unifiedhealing.com to learn more and find a center near you. Again, that's Unified Healing with a Y, UNIFYD, HEALING.com. No real update. The injury report was clean for the Knicks. The only thing for the Pacers was Tyrese Haliburton back spasms. Were those bothering him tonight? Might have been. I mean, he wasn't himself. Again, only took one shot inside the arc. That is like wild. We'll see how his ankle is. He fell, towards the end of the game there. Look, it's getting late in the playoffs. Everybody's banged up. Not apologizing at all because of the guys that we're missing. No Bogey, no Julius Randle. And here we go. So thank you, Unified Healing, for the road to recovery. And then last but not least, big shout out to our friends at T Squared Social. We are, I guess, just going to continue being undefeated in watch parties at T Squared Social. If you go to T Squared Social, get a free draft beer when you tell them that KFS sent you. You could also visit them online at tsquaredsocial.com to learn about club memberships, trivia nights, sports leagues, and much more. I'm sure it was a wild scene at T Squared Social tonight on 42nd Street, just down the block from Grand Central Station. Playoff scoreboard. Boy, oh boy. Woo, Nelly. I am looking up at a score that says, hold on, we got 8. I'm going to just stick with this one because there's 8 seconds left in the half. Oh, my God. No, I missed the last 3. Okay. So at halftime, we have Minnesota without Rudy Gobert, who's missing the game for the birth of his child. Something I don't blame him for one bit. 61. Denver at home, 35. That is a 26-point lead. We could be in the midst of seeing forget the dethroning of the NBA champions. We could be in the midst of seeing, I mean, you could say it would happen in game 1. You could say it happened in the first round. So far, through 5 games and 2 quarters of playoff basketball, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in particular Anthony Edwards, are announcing themselves as there's a new bully on the block. And if y'all want to win anything in this league, you're going to have to come through us. That is what is going on in Denver right now. Again, it's halftime. We will see what the Denver Nuggets are made of. Karl Anthony Towns, by the way, 20 points in that first half, 8 of 11 from the field. Wild stuff. Okay. Oh my God. What a fucking night. I'm thinking about David Fudernick's his tweet that he always sends out with him with the gray beard. Another easy Knicks win. Jesus. Oh, what are we doing here? Wild stuff. Okay, let's get to the super chats. Robert W. Cross starts us off. I hope he said this after the game ended. First time, long time with your boy John. The Big Ragu, Josh Barkley Hart, and JB Superstar. It's all we need. Well, look, at some point they're probably going to need something else. Unfortunately, there's no place to get it right now. Tonight, look, they got some plays from other guys. They needed OG Anunoby's defense down the stretch. Again, I thought Isaiah Hartenstein played a better game than he's going to get credit for. But you won with the Nova boys. That's all there is to it. Thanks, Robert. Starting us off. It's your boy John. The Pacers will learn from this game slipping away and lose Wednesday night. Say goodnight. Listen, I said it with DJ. I was happy that I started off the series doing a post game with DJ because me and him seemed to be on an island in terms of how much respect that we had for this Pacers team. I feel like I've watched as much of Indiana as I've watched of any non-Knicks team this year. I felt like I was always tuning into their games, and I know they had this reputation of this like offense only show, and they don't play defense and the whole thing. And you watch the first 2 minutes of the game, by the way, and you're like, oh, maybe I overrated the Pacers. They showed you what they're made of. Their best players can't do anything, and they should have won this game. Like, honestly, it reminded me of the Knicks in Game 1 and Game 2 against the Sixers. And that was going to be the comp. I was going to get on here and talk about how Pacers did to us what we did to the Sixers in Game 1 and Game 2. And thank God I didn't have to. But this Pacers team is good. I guess the one thing I will say is like Haliburton could be better. You would think if I don't know if he's capable of being better. I'm not sure how much better the Pacers could play. Like, if you look up and down their roster, everybody else besides Haliburton, even Pascal got it going eventually. Like Nembhard, Neesmith, Turner, Toppin, McConnell, everybody. Isaiah Jackson. All those guys. Ben Shepherd. Shepherd didn't do much, but like again, he's their ninth man. Tonight he was their ninth man. I don't know how much better those guys could play. Now, you're telling me they're going to play like this the whole series? Maybe it's possible. I think that's maybe a bright spot for the Knicks. Like, maybe these guys are not going to be able to come out like this consistently. And look, in the Milwaukee series, they had some duds. They had some real duds. We'll see. I'm just happy the Knicks got the win. That's all I'll say. I'm happy they got the win. Jesse M., sigh of relief. We survived the Hallie disaster class. Yeah, I mean, they were going to be saying the same thing. We survived the Hallie disaster class. He's going to be better. You know he's going to be better. But the Knicks got to be better too. Thanks, Jesse. Michael Aaron, I can't do this. Man. And that last minute with all that bullshit, just taking years off my life. Thank you, Michael. Hayden Freed, he's Michael Jordan, MVP number 11. Yeah. No, man, I mean it's just stupid. It's just silly. It's not supposed to be this easy. And I'm not saying it's easy, but like for us, it's easy. We just get to sit here and watch the guy like take over basketball games. Like, what are we doing here? Do we think how many players have played in the history of the league? And it's the three guys who have ever had 40 or more in 4 straight games. It's Michael Jordan, the logo, Bernard King, and Jalen Brunson. Come on, man. What's going on? What is this? I don't know. I feel like I betrayed Lawrence Fishburne, and I got the deal that what's his face, Joey Pants, got in the Matrix. You know, I want to be rich. You know, whatever. I feel like I must have made that deal because this shit can't be real. Thanks, Hayden. Zoo, I can't do these games anymore. This is not fun. I mean, come on, this is fun. It's fun when they win. If they had lost, I'll say this. There was a moment where this loss would not have been like heartbreaking, but then when they took the 4-point lead, if they had lost after that, it would have been really tough. Really tough. If they had lost after the DiVincenzo made 3, that would have been inconsolable for a period of time. And then by the end of the postgame, I probably would have talked myself into, well, they didn't deserve to win the game anyway. Go out, play better, get him next time, go win for the next 5, whatever. Thankfully, I don't have to do any of that. Thank us. Jason M., what's going on? Jason, this team is incapable of winning a playoff game without giving me a heart attack. Yep. Let's go Knicks. Brunson is a Knicks legend. We got to enjoy his run. Oh, man. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this. You know, Is Jalen Brunson the greatest Knick of all time, or the second greatest Knick, or the third greatest Knick, or the fourth or fifth? No, not yet. He's been here for at some point, the longevity question needs to come into play. I would be really curious to talk to some people who remember the championship teams well. Like, did Clyde or Reed, or maybe someone who watched Ewing maybe in the late 80s, early 90s, you could argue his best season was 89, 90. Like, did those guys ever do this? I don't think so. But if somebody out there is watching and wants to send in their thoughts, yeah, man, it's inconceivable. Thank you, Jason. Mark Fabros, what's going on, Mark? They scared now, but seriously, my heart can't take much more of this. Nah, I mean, I wonder. Look, Indiana, Carlisle's a good coach. I think they're a tough-minded team. I don't think they're going to come out and lay down in game two. I bet you they come out and they, from the outset, play like they did in game one in terms of the toughness and everything. Like, the Knicks are going to have to beat this team. They are going to have to beat this team, and they're going to have to beat this team apparently with 6 or 6.5 guys. That's not easy. That's not easy. Thanks, Mark. Kenneth Escalona, what's going on, Kenneth? In your face, Supernova, Knicks, and the Fellowship of New York. I don't know what that is in reference to, but that's pretty wild. I got it. Oh, my Lord. So Jalen Brunson was asked, no one scored 40 in 4 games since Michael Jordan. And Dante said, Michael Jordan? And Jalen said, stop. And Dante said, damn. That's great. Man. Okay. Thanks, Kenneth. Bake. Iron. They're made of fucking iron. You're goddamn right they are. Oh, man. They shouldn't have won this game. But no, I don't mean to say that because, the refs gave it. No. They shouldn't have even been in position to win this game. They got themselves in that position. And they pulled it out. Somehow. They got a little lucky, but they took advantage of that luck. You have to take advantage of luck. Luck does not win you basketball games. Luck maybe puts you in a position to win a basketball game. Luck doesn't win you basketball games. Thanks, Bake. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? Was it just me, or did you see 3-4 times Isaiah Hartenstein was in a good position to challenge a shot, go for the block, and never left his feet? I'm going to go back and rewatch, just like DJ and I'm sure Benji are going to go back and rewatch. I'd be honest, I didn't notice it. I would guess that. So the tough part about, again, this Pacers offense is I think they get downhill so well that maybe the only thing I could think of is that maybe it was too late and he knew it was too late and he wasn't going to chance drawing the foul there. I didn't think Hartenstein played a bad game. I may go back and rewatch it and come out with a completely different opinion. On first watch, on first viewing, I thought he was okay. Can he be better? Absolutely. Will he need to be better? Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Hayden Freed, what's going on, Hayden? Our effing year, this team is resilient. They live in the swamp. With a little poop emoji there. Give me this team under 5 minutes with anybody. Yeah, I mean, look, they're making us nervous with some of these end-of-game situations where it's oh, come on, guys. That's not what you want there. They'll continue to learn. Jalen Brunson will continue to learn. They need to improve in that, but in terms of the Stones to take big shots, make big shots. I mean, what did Brunson score? 20? Did he score 20 in the fourth quarter in this game? I think he did. Or 19 in the fourth quarter. I mean, just wild. And then they always seem to come through with some big shots here or there. DiVincenzo, man. DiVincenzo. That's it. DiVincenzo. Thanks, Hayden. Ben Kim Gervey. 5 down, 11 to go. Knicks in 5. Hashtag storybook. Knicks in 5 is possible. Again, I'm going to just say, I'll double down. If you're giving me the choice of Knicks in 5 or Knicks in 7, I think I'm taking Knicks in 7. I hope I'm wrong. I was wrong last series. Last series, I thought Knicks in 7. It was Knicks in 6, and it should have been Knicks in 5. This series, I said before the series, Knicks in 6. Game 2 is going to be huge. I want to see how they come out. I really want to see how they come out. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you. Baltimore Corey. What's going on, Baltimore Corey? Every time I shut the game off after the third quarter, we win. You're welcome. Also, FTJ McConnell. Keep shutting the game off, please. Yes, thank you. I never thought they were out of it. I was a little worried. I mean, first play of the fourth quarter, they went into the fourth quarter down by 7. Were they down by 7? Down by 5 or down by 7? One or the other. I think they were down by 5. They were down by 5. And then the immediate turnover and then foul, 2 free throws. So that was awful. And but you know what? By the way, OG came back with a 3. Now, OB negated that with a 3 of his own, and then the Pacers went on a little run, and then Brunson came back in. And that's when really the game turned around. I mean, it was 94-85, and the Knicks outscored the Pacers by 13 points the rest of the way. So, impressive stuff. Thank you, Baltimore Corey. Man, DiVincenzo 21 in the second half. Thank you, DJ Zulo, for just tweeting that out. That's freaking wild. 8 of 10 from the field, including 5 made threes in the second half. Made 8 of 10 from the field. Insanity. Jesus. Jesse D, what's going on, Jesse? Last series it was Embiid. Now we need to find a way to win the non-McConnell minutes. That's phenomenal. They got to do something, man. I mean, but like, here, look, there's nothing to figure out because he's so fast. So you don't want to stick a bigger guy on him. And Deuce just is like, I don't know. Deuce seems to be too small to bother him. And to be very clear, no one should, like, okay, maybe to this extent you should be a little surprised. I wrote it in the newsletter today. Today's Knicks Film School newsletter. I wrote it that on a per 36-minute basis over the last, I think it was like 3 months, McConnell has been better than Tyrese Haliburton. Here, I'll give you the numbers right now. Per 36 minutes since January 30th, okay? TJ McConnell, per 36 minutes since January 30th, 24 points, 10 assists, 10.2 actually, 5 rebounds, is shooting 58% from the field and only a 1.5 attempts per game, but 59% from 3 and 89% from the line. That's TJ McConnell on a per 36-minute basis since January 30th. Wildly above where Tyrese Haliburton has been on a per 36 minutes basis since that same time period. The dude's been doing this. Like, this is not like he's been doing this for months. And man, the Knicks better figure out something because he could hurt them. Really, he could hurt them. Thank you, Jesse. Spicy Sham. They always find a way. Well, they did tonight. They got fortunate, but they found a way. Thank goodness for that. It's a big win. Okay. Thank you, Spicy. Stevens B. Guillaume. What's going on, Stevens? Glad we got the W. There are definitely some adjustments that we need to make. I'm curious. So I think there's two areas, right? I think the Pacers did a really nice job of disrupting New York's offense. I'm curious, is this an adjustment or is this just like we got to play better? There were how many possessions where the Pacers were going 94 feet on Brunson, bringing up the ball, and he'd get it across the midcourt line with 16, 17 seconds left on the clock, and the Pacers were fighting like hell with those screening actions. And by the time the Knicks I said this on the halftime zone, by the time the Knicks got into their action, well, all of a sudden now it's 10 seconds left on the clock. Okay. When there's 10 seconds left on the clock and your first action doesn't work, well, shit, what then? Now, all of a sudden, now you only got 5 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever, left on the clock. And now it's like, all right, well, whoever's got the ball, like, put up a shot. Thank God we have Jalen Brunson on our team. He's able to get good looks in those situations, or, like, looks in those situations that he could make. But, like, that's not sustainable. Now, I thought there were some times where they put the ball in, like, DiVincenzo's hands or maybe Josh Hart's hands, let somebody else bring it up. I think that's one adjustment they could go to. But that's the adjustment that I'm looking to see on the offensive end. I thought also the Knicks had some poor possessions. Like, early on, they were trying to, like, force OG down low. Didn't love that. Knicks also had some bad turnovers, especially in third quarter. That wasn't good. Missed some shots at the rim. That wasn't good. The bigger adjustments obviously need to come on defense. And how are you handling these pick and rolls? How are you handling McConnell? How are you corralling him? And do you need to make more of an effort in transition defense? Now, look, the Pacers in this game, actually, I have it right here. Why am I looking on my phone? Pacers in this game, fast break points, 18. Knicks actually had 20. You live with that. What you can't live with is 15 turnovers for the Knicks. That's not okay. Yeah, I actually didn't think the Pacers killed them as much as they kill some teams in transition. It's the pick and roll stuff that worries me a lot. And yeah, that's the big thing. How do you handle those pick and rolls? You gotta be better. Thanks, Stevens. Bernard Richardson, what's going on, Bernard? Thank you for the generous contribution. Such a this effing team win. They know exactly what needs to be cleaned up, and they will. I'm sure they know what needs to be cleaned up. I think they're capable of cleaning it up. You still got to go out and do it. I trust that they will. Want to track me? Let's run, mother effers. Thought it would take me 3 games, but it took 3 quarters to be annoyed by TJ. Ugh. He's the most Tibbs player that's never played for Tibbs. You want to talk about a guy that the Knicks could use right now? Shit, if the Knicks had TJ McConnell, it might be the favorites to go to the finals. Man. Anyway, thanks, Bernard. Mark Fabros with another one. Thank you again, Mark. Don't let JB's fourth quarter explosion let us forget this is one of the biggest games Hart has played for us, except the turnovers. I think it's the Josh Hart game. I don't know that there's been a game yet in these playoffs that we could truly call the Josh Hart game. Game 1, I thought it was more the Deuce game, and if not the Deuce game, then the Mitch game. Game 2, we called it the Josh Hart game because of what he did in the first half to keep them in the game, but that game got overshadowed by what happened in the last 30 seconds. So that's not gonna go down as the Josh Hart game. Game 6 hit the massive shot to essentially steal the series, but that wasn't the Josh Hart game. This really kind of felt like the Josh Hart game. And yet again, it'll be overshadowed by Jalen Brunson putting himself in conversation with Michael Jordan. Not that that's a bad thing, you know? Yeah. Man. All right, we got Benji's grades here. I'll read the next super chat, then I'll read Benji's grades. Thanks, Mark. Dom the dentist. I've decided the first 40 minutes do not matter for this team. Let's go Knicks. That's a great comment. No, they have to. They do matter, and they have to matter. Okay. Final grades from Benji. Brunson, A. DiVincenzo, A. Hart, A+. It's the right move. I wonder if he only gave Brunson an A because of the stuff late. I want to talk to Benji about that tomorrow. And Anunoby B+. Hartenstein B+. I feel a little bit better now. And he gave Hartenstein a B+. That kind of backs up what I thought I saw, which is that Hartenstein wasn't bad. Robinson B-, Achua B-, McBride D. Yeah, and he one of his comments here is need Deuce. Yeah, they needed Deuce in the first round. They got Deuce in the first round. They need Deuce in this series. They need him to be better. That's it. Just need him to be better. He can be better. He'll be better. Thanks, Tom. Hush Zoo. Doubt of the Pacers, they're more of a threat than the Sixers. Well, I didn't doubt them. Are they more of a threat than the Sixers? I'm not going that far yet. I'm not going that far yet. I think it's tough because the series are so different and the matchups are so different and the responsibilities are so different. I think you can argue that tonight was the worst game the Knicks played in the playoffs. I think you could argue that. And actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm not. Maybe game 2 against Philly. I know they won that game and they lost game 3. I actually thought they played really well in game 3. They just lost to just Embiid going insane. Which that happens. I would say it was one of the 2 worst games they played in the playoffs for sure. I don't know that I would say the Pacers are more of a threat than the Sixers. But I may be proven wrong. Look, we're sitting here talking about a series loss in 2 weeks, then obviously I was wrong. Thanks, Hush. AL Oron Bausch. Can I breathe? JB's defense seems subpar tonight. I think so. It's tough because part of the game plan for the Knicks is for him not to get switched on. Like they want to keep him out of disadvantageous matchups. Go a step further. Their entire defense is schemed around not putting JB in matchups where he could be exploited. They do everything to avoid that. Every team that they play knows that they are doing everything to avoid that. So Jalen Brunson's kind of caught in the middle where he's like, if I'm trying to execute the game plan properly, I have to make sure I am kept out of these actions. And that can make you look bad on defense sometimes. Was he great? No, he wasn't great. Did have a pretty big block on Miles Turner, though. Don't forget about that. Also drew an offensive foul. I mean, yeah. Josh Hart, it wasn't a good win for us, but a win's a win. I'm glad he said that. That makes me very happy. Thank you, Al. Andrew P., shittiest offense that somehow scores enough. The Knicks offense. Well, here's the thing, and oh my god, this is where doing this right off the cuff without getting time to sit and process and think and have coaching thoughts is rough. I have talked about this game for an hour and 20 minutes, and I have not talked about arguably the biggest takeaway, not takeaway, but like the biggest eyebrow raiser from the game. Look at my eyebrows. Here they go. Knicks tonight, 8 offensive rebounds. 8 offensive rebounds. Over the course of these playoffs, the Knicks have, I'm going to pull it up right now. Their offensive rebounding against the Philadelphia 76ers was as follows. 23 offensive rebounds in their first game against Philadelphia, followed by 12, 11, 15. They had one bad game, 6 in game 5, and then 20 in the last game. So with the exception of one game, they had double-digit offensive rebounds in every one of those games. Now, look, they had 2 offensive rebounds in the first half. They ended up with 8 for the game. So they had 6 in the second half. If you can duplicate that moving forward, 6 in each half, that gets you to 12. It's almost passable for the Knicks. The reason I'm going through this is because what you saw tonight on offense, that's not out of character for the Knicks. This is who they are on offense. And actually, tonight, their offense wasn't that shitty. And you know why? The effective field goal percentage for them was actually pretty good. This Knicks team hit 53.7% from the field and 4.8% from deep. You want to talk about even their butt number? 11 for 23 from deep. That number saved their butt. Dante DiVincenzo's threes in the second half saved their butt. Jalen Brunson making that 1-3 saved their butt. They absolutely needed to be bailed out by the threes that they made. Otherwise, as you could say about half a dozen other things, otherwise they're not winning this game. So Isaiah Hartenstein. What about the last play of the first half? We haven't talked about that yet. You know, even OG Anunoby 3-7 from deep. That's great. Like the 3-point shooting saved their butt. So the offense tonight, I actually think it was better than normal, and yet it was so uncharacteristic because usually the way they score is through the offensive rebound, and they didn't do that tonight. And they got to figure out a way to get more offensive rebounds. Thanks, Adrian. As Minnesota is now up 30 on Denver. My Lord. Debo, thank you for the generous contribution, Debo. Brunson is a special player. Watching him hoop never gets old. OG is a special defender. My heart may not hold up with these close games. Love Dante selling that foul. Yeah. Please guard TJ. Yeah. Why not now? Well, where's the t-shirt? There it is. I'm keeping it. Oh, this is Kevin's bro. Shout out to Kevin, by the way. He's producing tonight. He's on the 1s and 2s. Shout out to Debo. Yeah. Why not now, man? Order your t-shirts now. At this rate, they'll still be in the playoffs by the time you get it. Yeah, Brunson, this was worth the wait. It's all worth the wait. This team is worth the wait. Josh Hart's worth the wait. The big shots are worth the wait. The fact that they seem to pull out so many of these games is worth the wait. The fact that we never are left being like, man, you didn't try enough tonight. Man, you got out hustled tonight. You got out efforted tonight. Although that might have been part of the story if they lost this game. But it wasn't, because they found it within themselves. Like, all of that stuff was worth the wait. More than any of it, Jalen Brunson was worth the wait of the last 20-plus years. Yeah, I agree. OG, special defender. They don't win the game without his defensive presence there late in the fourth quarter. Thanks, Debo. Alex, what's going on, Alex? How you doing? I'm just relieved they came out with the win here, especially after nobody except Brunson and Hart and Obi and DiVincenzo and Spurts played well. Hart and Mitch were exposed all night. Please practice inbounding. I am going to gently push back. I thought it was more collectively as a unit, they were exposed on some possessions. Look, Isaiah Hartenstein can play any defense you want Isaiah Hartenstein to play. They got mixed up on a lot of possessions tonight. They got mixed up in terms of switching, not switching, all that stuff. Hartenstein can do this. They need to be better collectively as a team. And it was not just Hartenstein. I promise you that. Now, Mitch, in the first half, he was a guy who didn't look like he belonged in this game. made up for it some in the second half. He found something. You have to hope he could capitalize on that moving forward. I think they'll be fine. Isaiah Hartenstein's going to be fine in this series. I promise you that. He's going to be fine. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate the generous contribution, by the way. Spicy Sham with another one. Just barked at my girlfriend. I'm so sorry, babe. JB simply brings out the dog in me. When DiVincenzo let out, or when DiVincenzo hit the three, I let out. I think I might have been. I might have done the triple bang. I think I did the triple bang in my basement, but it was worth it. Oh, this is. I have to share this with my wife. Steph, this is courtesy of Steph Bondi. What makes Josh Hart tired? My wife arguing with me. That makes me extremely tired. And then Bondi. I've never related more to an NBA player. That's phenomenal. That's really, truly amazing. Thanks, Spicy Sham. Armin Burdenjod. What's going on, Armin? Let's go! Pacers played their best type of game. Pacers are, I think you mean our worst. Also, I can't believe Team USA took Bumma Burton over Brunson. I mean, at this rate, is Haliburton, I don't know if he's going to be well enough to play in the Olympics. He may need to drop out. And if he does, and they come knocking on JB's door, now, are they going to do that? We'll see. At this point, I got to say, look, maybe I wonder how that goes, right? If like Haliburton doesn't want to give up his spot on the Olympic team, but he's not well enough to play, or he's not himself. Like, how does that work? Also, isn't he going to want time to recover or whatever? I don't know. Thanks, Armin. Twin Orange. What's going on, Twin Orange? J-Mac. Depressing halftime Zoom. We always find a way. I don't know. Was it that depressing? I didn't think it was depressing. I was just like, look, I got to play better. They had to clean some stuff up. They got to figure some stuff out. And they did eventually. But it was, I mean, they were down 9. They were down 9 in the fourth quarter of this game. Think about that. That's what I want to know. How many games in Knicks history? Maybe, I don't know. They may have done this in every game in the first round for all I've already forgotten. There can't be a ton of games in Knicks history where they're down by 9 in the fourth quarter in the playoffs and won. This series will be a battle, but we learned a lot in the first game. I'm going to go to the hospital now. Yeah, we learned that the Knicks are the Knicks, and they find a way. That's what we learned. But they'll be better. Hush Zoo. What's going on, Hush? It needs to be known. How bad has Alec Burks been in practices that Tibbs won't give him any minutes in a Pacer game? Good Lord, this might go 7. Look, you trust the coach. 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 Thibodeau doesn't think Alec Burks could survive in this series. And by the way, it's not the offense that he's worried about. I'll tell you that right now. It's not the offense that he's worried about. Can Alec Burks survive defensively against this team? I mean, you saw it out there. When do the Pacers put a lineup out there that doesn't put immense, not minimal, not moderate, not a goodly amount? When do the Pacers put a lineup out there that does not put immense pressure on your defense? I thought Alec Burks would get a shot. I thought he would get a shot because I thought he would play with Brunson and just, at the very least, space the floor, putting them in the corner, the whole thing. At the very least, I thought whoever got minutes as the 8th man, because I thought there was going to be an 8th man in this game, would get minutes with Brunson. I was wrong on both counts. If Tibbs doesn't trust Alec Burks to defend aptly enough to see time in this series, I'll take his word for it. Thanks, Hush. Vince N. Will I die The cause of death will be the 23-24 New York Knicks. I think the Pacers did us a favor by sitting McConnell down the stretch. He was such a pain in the ass as usual. I mean, it felt like he was scoring every time, but at the same time, he wasn't. Like, again, it's just like he was 9 of 16. He was awesome. He was awesome, but I don't know. They don't go to those McConnell Haliburton lineups all that often. I mean, Haliburton played 36 minutes tonight. McConnell played 22 minutes. Add those two together, get 58. So I'm going to guess they played 10 minutes together in this game. Probably be a few more. We'll see. Maybe they do that in game 2. Maybe that's one of their adjustments. Thanks, Vince. Delsky, what's going on, Delsky? Ragu, always with the clutch threes. Is it okay if we start calling him Bomb T Vincenzo as opposed to Dante Bomb T? It's a bit of a stretch. Hashtag why not now? Another guy I talked about Josh Hart being a guy who's going to go down as one of the all-time great Knick role players, if not the quintessential Knick role player. Devo's put himself right there. Devo's put himself right there. I think I'm not ready to do off-season talk. There are times in this postseason where you look at that position and you're like, do we need a little bit more creation there? And obviously this has to do with like what happened. Like, is Julius back next year? Is he healthy? Like the whole thing, like everything impacts everything else. And yet, when DiVincenzo got himself going? DiVincenzo got himself going when he put the ball on the floor and had a couple of nice drives in the first half. Not with the threes. His first 2 baskets in this game were on drives to the rim, and they were nifty drives. He needs to do that. That is vital. If that is what the defense is giving him, he needs to take advantage. He did tonight. I thought it was massive getting him going. Thank you, Delsky. Hush Zoo with another one. Miles Turner is so tricky to guard. How to adjust? I mean, you can't just be like, well, concede the threes, because they already kind of conceded the threes tonight. By the way, I mean, I know we praised Mitchell Robinson for his playing better in the second half. I thought he erred on the last play of the third quarter. See, that's one of those moments where Mitch just not thinking the game at quite the necessary level. The ball was out on the perimeter, and the Pacers were running out of time. It was getting down 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Turner was out there behind the arc, and the Knick defense again. We're talking like instant decision making in the moment. This is not easy stuff. This is hard stuff. But as it down to like 2.5 seconds, and the only play that the Pacers could have made was out to Turner there on the perimeter. Mitch needs to get out there and contest that sooner than he did. And that half a second difference, it made the difference probably between Turner making that shot and missing that shot. That's 3 points. That 3 points could have made a difference in the game. That's one play. It's really the pick and roll. And it's about, you're not going to switch Brunson onto Turner. They're just not going to do that. Because if they're going to switch Brunson onto Turner, then you have to bring the help on from the back line. And the problem, as I see it, and I'll be curious to ask Benji and DJ about this tomorrow, is you have to bring the back line help so soon that there's a chance that you're bringing that help and that pass never even gets made because Haliburton sees you bringing the help, coming with the help, and instead of passing the Turner down under the rim, he's kicking it to the corner. And whoever that is in the corner, guess what? They're going to be ready to shoot it. So, okay, maybe that's not the answer. So what's the answer? The answer is don't have it be Brunson who's the guy that is getting that switch, which means you need to make sure it's anybody else. You need to make sure it's anybody else making that switch. And that's really hard, especially since the Pacers know that that's what you want to do. to make, to avoid Brunson getting switched onto Turner or onto Haliburton. Like, you're trying to keep Brunson out of all of these disadvantageous matchups. So what are the Pacers doing? They're doing everything they can to be like, all right, we'll figure out a way to either get Brunson on Turner or Brunson on Siakam or Brunson on Haliburton. It's really hard. And when you have a passer as good as Haliburton, you could kind of do that. So how to adjust? Be more locked in. Got to fight over screens. You got to, when the switch is there to be had, you got to make it. It's hard stuff. They put pressure on you. Thank you, Hush. DJ MKC. How are we going to hold JB accountable for lying to us about not being a savior? That's a great call. That's a great call. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's fairy tale stuff. I don't know what else there was to say. It's fairy tale stuff. I wish I had. I'm like, how do you analyze this? That was a second-round pick. That's not even the most absurd part of it, because, Jokic was a second-round pick. But you know what the difference is? Jokic was a second-round pick at a time when, the scouting in European basketball and, the leagues that they're in over there is, only going to be so good. Brunson was a second-round pick when people had a chance to watch him on the biggest stage for years. 3 straight years in Villanova. And they got a chance to know about his work ethic. So, okay, there's that. And yet, the ridiculousness of that pales in comparison to the ridiculousness of the Dallas Mavericks having this guy in their building, part of their program, for 3.5 years. 3.5 years. They saw what this guy was all about. And they didn't offer him 4 years and $55 million. Because they were worried they wouldn't be able to trade him. Come on. And now he's doing this? Michael Jordan stuff? Very silly. Thank you, DJ. Giovanni Mistretta. What's going on, Giovanni? Grateful for the late call. We need to get anything from the bench. Thursday, I said we had 3/4 of Mitch. I stand on that. He's not 100%. I don't give a F. Let's effing go Knicks. He's not. Look better. Look better in the second half. Still not himself. I still am skeptical about whether this is a series for him. I think Tibbs is going to keep putting him out there. I don't think Tibbs is going to go to Precious at the 5. I don't know. Is that a possible answer? I'm curious to see what the guys think tomorrow. Thanks, Giovanni. Appreciate the contribution. Alex with another one. Thank you very much for the generosity tonight, Alex. Truly, truly appreciate it. These playoffs have told me that once the season is over, hopefully not till June, Leon's got to prioritize rebuilding the bench. We do not need another star. The Suns Clippers blueprint has failed. I think going in on a group of aging stars and sacrificing your bench because of it, yes, that is a failing model. Do the Knicks need to rebuild their bench? This is other Alex, by the way. Andrew's telling me to say that. Josh Hart's supposed to be coming off the bench. That's the thing, right? Is the bench for this team is supposed to be Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, I guess in theory, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson got named as one of the NBA's 100 best players, by, I think it was The Ringer or ESPN or one of those, or both of them. I don't even know. Before this season. Josh Hart, I'm pretty damn sure, would get named as one of the NBA's 100 greatest players or 100 best players in the league right now, if not one of the like 50 or 60 best players right now. Those are 2 names off your bench. And then there's Deuce, who I think we all love, even though he hasn't been great thus far in this series. So that's 8 guys. And we haven't even talked about Bogey or what they're going to do with that Bogey salary slot. So I think it might be as simple as if the right star is not there to trade for, you use the Bogey salary slot to get you maybe someone, a little bit younger, a little bit more malleable, a little bit more two-way. I don't think they need to rebuild anything. Not if they're running it back with Julius next year. Thanks, Alex. Other Alex. Luyen, thank you for the very generous contribution, Luyen. Hart, spectacular. Devo, big shot. OG, some amazing D. But honestly, have you ever seen anyone in the zone that Jalen Brunson is in? Jalen just full on God mode. You know what, Luyen? I got to disagree with you. I got to disagree with you for this reason. I don't think it's his zone. I mean, look, that sounds insane. That sounds insane because of what he's doing and how nobody else has ever done what he's doing. Or the guys that have been in the same conversation are the greatest players in the history of the sport. I'm going to sound like Tips here. Hi, Andrew. I know you're watching. He's doing what's necessary for them to win games. Do I think that we will ever get a stretch of like consecutive 40-point playoff games from Jalen Brunson for as long as we're all here watching this team? No, I don't. I don't even think I could see we're not going to get a stretch of like 35 plus point games or even 30 plus point games that equals what we're seeing now. I don't think we're going to get that. But do you know why? Because I think teams that moving forward will have another option, whether it's Julius Randle or someone that's not even here yet. Like, Brunson is doing this right now because this is what he needs to do. And as far as the shot making goes, that's what it comes down to, right? It's the shot making. Like, was tonight maybe his best shot making game of the playoffs? Maybe. But at the same time, he just got done facing that Sixers team who threw all this length at him, including Kelly Oubre Jr., who I know Benji has said this, maybe the best one-on-one Brunson defender in the league this year. Going from that to this, like, he wasn't perfect. He was only 1 of 4 from 3. And he was 13 of 22 from inside the arc. I don't think it's insane for Jalen Brunson to go 13 of 22 from inside the arc. I just don't. That's what he's capable of doing against most defenses. It is freaking wild, man. It is freaking wild. Thanks, Liam. Ryan Shepard, what's going on, Ryan? 21 in the fourth for JB. Was that how many it was? My God. 21 in the fourth. Oh, boy. 6 points on 6 shots for Haliburton. Yep. Sounds crazy, but TJ is playing significantly better on both ends. This Hallie doesn't scare me. Yeah, I mean, look, does he have it in him to turn it around? I'll say this. I got a little scared on what he had the ball in his hands on a possession late in the game. I think when it was tied. Yeah, I think it was tied. It was before the DiVincenzo 3. And I think that might have been I forget. I'll let you go look it up rather than trying to guess. It ended up being I think that one ended up in a Nembhard step back. But Haliburton had the ball there, couldn't do anything with it. And then ended up in a bad Nembhard shot attempt that missed. And then that led to the DiVincenzo 3. So there you go. Thanks, Ryan. Let's do with another one. Do you think we see some pressures at 5 minutes? Let's go next. I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, it depends on how Mitch looks to a certain extent. I thought Mitch played well enough in the second half tonight. You that he should be the first 5 off the bench in game 2. If it's a struggle for him, I could see you going with a little Precious. I just like here's the thing I keep coming back to. Why do you go to Precious? You go to Precious because he's a more mobile defender, he's a better switch defender. I don't think the issue has been them switching the big onto the perimeter player. I think the issue has been the other way around. It's getting Brunson switched onto the rolling big. That's what I think the issue is. I don't think the Knicks are gonna have a problem if they get Mitchell Robinson out on an island with this version of Tyrese Haliburton. Now, could you argue that Precious Achiuwa is just a better guy to run up and down the floor with these pacer bench units? Could you argue that he's just better to move, with all pay attention to all their emotion and be a little bit more locked in and engaged? All of that stuff, yeah. The flip side of that is, all right, well, how much are you losing with Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounding? Now, tonight, or not sorry, because Precious is a good offensive rebounder too. That's part of it. I misspoke. The bigger part of it is how much are you losing with Mitchell Robinson's rim protection? And I do think Mitchell Robinson, as a deterrent at the rim in the second half tonight, I know Neesmith yammed on him. I thought in certain situations Robinson's defense shined through, and it was a positive difference maker in getting this win. So these are all factors to consider, and I don't think it's going to be an easy decision. Thank you, Hush. Eli Langer. Thank you for the contribution, man. I don't see a comment here. If there is one for you, I'm sure Kev will get to it. Jessica, what's going on, Jess? And before I forget, I don't know if I'm supposed to say Happy Holidays Day, but I want to certainly honor all those who, we all do, recognize Holocaust Remembrance Day, and which, yeah. So, Jessica, I know you were in the chat pointing that out. So, yeah, I want to say that before I read your comment. This team doesn't get it. They aren't big enough. They aren't deep enough. They aren't talented enough. They're too tired. They aren't supposed to win, but they refuse to get it. If they refuse to, and they refuse to lose, let's effing go Knicks. Yes. It's been the theme. They don't think it's a show. They don't think it's a damn show. They think it's a damn fight. But we're all better off for it. Thank you, Jessica. Let's do another one. Brunson is our greatest shot maker ever in history. I don't care. It's him or King, with Melo trailing by a nose. Bernard King was pretty special shot maker. And we got from Hush. Is Dante an underrated point of attack defender? Maxey, now Hallie. Thought I did a good job on Haliburton tonight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always kind of thought it was good. He's been very good. Is he underrated? Maybe a little. Maybe a little. Thanks, Hush. Sam Garcia, 1 down, 3 to go. Your lips to God's ears. Hasn't happened in 25 years. I don't think you were born the last time the Knicks made the Eastern Conference Finals, Sam. So let's go about changing that. Thank you, Sam. Zach Horowitz, 4-point play. The Josh Hart. I don't know if this. Josh Hart's 4-point play was it. Knew we had it. Yeah. It was a massive play. I thought it was the biggest momentum play of the game before the DiVincenzo 3, obviously. Apparently, I'm underwater. Let's try this. Yeah, how about Am I still underwater or is this better? Thank you, Zach, by the way. Bill Peterfriend. This team, those starters. Thank you for the contribution, by the way, Bill. It's amazing how they do this with no bench. Sure, there will be. They're not supposed to be here, and there will be upgrades next year. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm at the point now where I really just want them to get to the conference finals. It has been a long time. It's been 25 years. They've only made 4 conference finals since 1974. That's 50 years. They've made 4 conference finals in 50 years. It would be really cool to get to a 5th. You know, once every 10 years. I know the 4 that they made were within a span of like 10 years, but like either way. Thanks, Bill. Sam Garcia's dad. What's going on, Sam Garcia's dad? Josh Hart is simply a superhero. That's the only explanation. What a win. Right there with Brunson. This shouldn't be possible, what we're seeing. We shouldn't, because you're looking at it and you're like, there's no one else in the NBA who could do this. Play 48 minutes of high intensity, high energy, like high stakes basketball. I mean, to his credit, he is becoming legendary. Like, to think, and I'm not calling anybody out. Not directly. They know who they are. Oh my God. I'm thinking of Simon Roth in Godfather 2. I didn't ask who gave the order because it had nothing to do with business. I'm not gonna bring up who wanted Josh Hart stuck on the bench and who blamed New York's offensive futility at times on the fact that Josh Hart was not a willing / able 3-point shooter, because it has nothing to do with this win. It doesn't matter as long as everybody out there recognizes, like, yeah, you know, does it make perfect basketball sense to have a guy out there who is a wing, a perimeter player who teams are generally going to leave open from 3? No, it's not perfect. Yeah, sure, you'd rather have a guy out there who shoots like Klay Thompson. But neither Klay Thompson or Ray Allen or freaking Reggie Miller or anybody else in the history of the league who you put out there in that spot is going to be doing all the shit that Josh Hart does on a night-to-night basis and doing it over the course of quite literally 48 freaking minutes. And that stuff wins basketball games. So they better have him out there, because I don't know what the hell they're going to do if they don't have him out there. Thank you, Sam. Zach Barber, what's going on, Zach? Shout out Andrew Claudio, supreme fire, energy, and passion. J-Mac as well. Josh Hart game 100%, but he still doesn't have a chance to show it without Jalen being him. Great basketball. So Knicks. I love that you put it that way, Zach, because it's both, right? Josh Hart wouldn't have had a chance to like, the Josh Hart stuff wouldn't have mattered if Jalen didn't bring it home, to say nothing of keeping them in it along the way. And the Jalen stuff wouldn't have mattered if Josh Hart didn't keep them in it. You know, they needed both. They needed both guys, and both of those needed DiVincenzo to make the big shot. So all of it was relevant. Thank you, Zach. Andrew, appreciate your thoughts and contribution. Andrew Claudio, shout out to Zach Barber. Invoice is in the mail. That's pretty fun. Hi, Andrew. Jay Berg, what's going on, Jay Berg? Am I the only one who cheered when TJ McConnell came out? Yeah, no, you weren't. I mean, but was he gassed? They said on the broadcast early in the third quarter that he looked gassed. Again, people don't do what Josh Hart does. They don't do it because it's not normal. It's not human. He's an android or a T-1000 or fucking Wally. I don't know. He's someone, not human. Per 36 numbers weren't lying. We have Brunson. They don't. That's why the Knicks will win this series. I mean, at the end of the day, if Brunson's the best player in the series, you figure the Knicks are going to win the series. Probably. Because they got Josh Hart and they got DiVincenzo, and you figure those guys are going to make enough plays. The other guys will play better. I mean, really, it just comes down to the bench. Because, like, here's the thing. Was OG perfect tonight? No. Was Hardenstein perfect tonight? No. Did those guys play well enough to win? Think about OG's threes that he hit, the big threes that he hit. Think about the big defensive plays that he hit. Like, OG Anunoby gave you a game that was, like, good enough. Like, I think what did Benji give him? A B or something? B plus, whatever it was. It was fine. It was good. Hardenstein, B plus. Starters all played fine. They need the bench to be better. That's all it is. Thank you, Jay Berg. Rich McLeod, what's going on, Rich? You can argue they stole games 1 and 2 versus Philly 2. I mean, man, game 1 versus Philly seems like a million years ago. No, but here's the thing. Where did they win game 1 against Philly? They won it with their bench. Deuce and Mitch. I remember Deuce was my 3-star player of the game. Mitchell Robinson was my 2-star player of the game. Josh Hart, because he hit a bunch of big threes down the stretch, was my 3-star player of the game, or my 1-star player of the game. And you know who was my honorable mention? Bojan Bogdanovic. Big baskets in big minutes during that game 1. So, like, their bench assertively came out and won that game. That, to me, is a little bit different than stealing it. Game 2 versus Philly, they kind of stole it. This game, they kind of stole it. But to your point, I'm going to keep reading your comment. I'd rather be making adjustments after a win than after a loss. 100%. Like, yeah, you win or you learn, but in the playoffs, you better hope you're hoping for a win. You also learn. Even when ugly, these Knicks find a way. Rafa, these Knicks refuse to die. So proud of this team. All caps, TEAM. Yes. Didn't look like a Knicksy performance for most of this night because the whole team wasn't involved. And then DiVincenzo gets going and OG gets going, and it's enough. You got there somehow. Now you got to play a little bit better. Always more to ask of them. Shout out to Fred Katz. Thanks, Rafa. Armand, again, what changed? Brunson went from no calls to every call. Different defenders. I think look, is he a master of his domain right now? Shout out to everybody who knows that reference. Yeah. Is he in full control of all of his abilities? Yeah. Like, once he gets a step on you, then you're done. Because the Pacers play drop. And the reason the Pacers play drop is because they know if they bring Turner up closer to the level, Brunson's going to be able to get around him, get by him, like all that stuff. Like, I don't think Turner doesn't scare Brunson. You know? Turner doesn't scare Brunson. He doesn't have quite the size that Embiid does. I know he's a great shot blocker. He's a great shot blocker at the rim. Brunson don't need to get to the rim. Never has, never will. So, you know, I'm sure the Pacers will clean it up. 14 free throws is a lot. I wouldn't expect them to get this many again. Then again, like, we're sitting here talking about a guy like that hasn't really, like, his 3-ball was such a big part of his arsenal this year. It hasn't really, 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 really been for the playoffs. Not quite. And I'm going to pull up his stats here. By the way, even bigger shout out to Fred Katz, who was the pool reporter tonight. I didn't even notice that. All right. Thanks, Armin. Bernard Richardson, put my Starks jersey on at the start of the fourth. We're facing these demons head on. Game 1, 2013 to the Pacers, loss. Game 1, 1995 to the Pacers, loss. Pretty sure they lost game 1 in both 98 and 2000. They lost both of those series. I'm guessing they lost both of those games once. I should know that. But the ones that'll always stick out in my mind in terms of memorable game 1 losses to the Pacers, 95 and 2000. Glad we exercised those demons at least tonight. Real quick, Jalen Brunson from 3 in the playoffs. Here are his 3-point makes per game, starting with game 1 against Philly. 1, 1, 3, 2, 4 on 11 attempts, by the way, in game 6. 4 for 11. And then, sorry, that was game 5. Game 5, 4 of 11. And then 3 of 8. And the 11 threes in game 5 came because he ran out of gas in overtime and was just wasting threes. So, but a couple of those went down, granted. But again, 1, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1 tonight. So that's like an average of 2.5 games. It's not a lot. Thanks, Bernard. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? Thank you for the generosity, man. This effing team, that's 1 so far. And I will say, coming back from 9 early in the 4th and by 5 multiple times, find a win in spite of numerous miscues is incredibly huge. Dare I say New York stole 1 at home? No, you don't have to dare to say anything. That's accurate. They did steal 1 at home. And again, credit to the Pacers. I really did think the Pacers made a lot of big plays throughout the night. I thought so the Nesmith, I keep calling him Nesmith. The Nesmith dunk over Mitch was big. That Obi 3 after OG made the 3 to start the scoring in the 4th quarter, I thought that was cool. It felt like a 3 that was oh man, are we gonna be looking back at the beginning of the 4th quarter the Knicks were never able to get going on that run because the Pacers came up with a big basket every time. We'll see. Apparently, I'm a little underwater again. I'm gonna pause for 1 more second and unplug and replug. Give me a second. Okay, we're back. Andrew, you may need to order me a new mic. Thank you, Dom. Appreciate it always. Rich, what's going on? My buddy Rich can for incredible effort tonight. Plenty to clean up, but coming off a war with Philly, this was and will be an adjustment. All grit, no quit, closing it. Yeah. I wonder if this was a little bit of Philly hangover. I mean, that series, you can't discount the fact that that series was so emotional and physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. They gave everything to that series. Everything to that series. And now you're coming and you're facing a young team that's hungry, a team that's well coached, a team that is not going to be scared of the moment, and most of all, a team that runs like hell. Looking back now in retrospect, the game had all the makings. This game had all the makings of an upset. And it probably should have been. Thanks, Rich. As Minnesota, by the way, score update, Minnesota up by 25 on Denver. I saw Denver maybe got it to within 20 a couple times, but Minnesota's up by 25 with 4.5 minutes to go in this game in Denver, in front of what I assume is an utterly shocked Denver crowd. Isaiah Flowers, I don't see a comment there, but I do thank you for the contribution. If there's a comment, I'm sure Kev will get to it. Funny! Chaos is our brand. You got that right, man. Chaos and and bourbon. We drink your blood milkshake. I'm thinking of There Will Be Blood. God. We eat anxiety for dinner. Your tears are our dessert. We are awake when you sleep. Basketball is my favorite sport. That's a comment of the night by far. Hashtag sometimes the Don does wear shorts. Yeah. Another easy Knicks win. Eh? Thanks, Dave. Looking forward to seeing you this summer. Dom with another one. Thank you, Dom. Speaking of miscues, I think they'll polish them up over the course of the next couple games. They don't prepare them better than Thomas. No, they don't. Going to be a long series, so going to get my rest in while I can. You'd love to get game 2. You'd love to get game 2 and at least give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance at making this a short series. Going to be tough. Going to be tough. I feel good. I feel confident. I feel like I'm sure they're going to come in and they're going to play. I think they'll play better. I'd be shocked if they didn't play better. But like the thing I can come back to is it's like the cleanup on aisle 5 is not easy. Like, yeah, clean up on aisle 5. You know where the aisle is. You don't have a broom. You don't have paper towels. You have like a pair of rubber gloves and a roll of toilet paper. Make do. That's kind of where they're at. Thank you, Dom. And another one from Dom here. Knicks, please go win one for the KFS in game 2. Night all. Love this effing team so much. We all do. We all do because they've earned it. Thank you as always for your generosity, Dom. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated, I promise you. Chris Carter, does it concern you that the Pacers can be this competitive when Haliburton is this bad? No, because if Haliburton was Haliburton, the series would be, for me at least, a toss-up. At the very least. And if Haliburton was playing like he was over the first 30 whatever games of the year, 33 games, well, first of all, the Pacers wouldn't be a 6 seed, for one. 2, if they, for some reason they were, or like whatever, this matchup still happened in the playoffs, I mean, I'd probably still pick the Knicks because I'm who I am, but like with this version of the Knicks, would I be like totally confident the Knicks would win? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The reason why I don't feel bad about it is 4 words: Julius Randle Bojan Bogdanovic. That's why I don't feel bad about it. Forget Julius. If Bojan plays in this game, I think this game is an easier, maybe slightly more comfortable win. Forget Julius. I mean, Julius, like, yeah, that's why. No, I don't feel bad. We don't have Julius. So no, I mean, but in terms, like, that doesn't really answer your question. Your question doesn't say does you feel bad. Your question doesn't concern you. A little. I don't know how much better Haliburton could really be, and I don't know how much better the rest of the Pacers can really play. And I think this is the worst defensive performance that the Knicks will have in the series. All that being said, does it concern me? Yes. So good question. Hey, FaZe Vader, thank you for the contribution. Simply put, I love this team that kills me. Let's freaking go next. Will do. They're hard team not to love. Thanks, FaZe Vader. AG Blatt, thank you for the contribution. Big takeaway. Hallie Siakam is way less scary than Maxi M. Flop. Yes, but the rest of the Pacers supporting cast is much better. And here's the other part of it, right? And this is all the credit in the world to Indiana for what I'm about to say. The Sixers never figured out how to play without Embiid. even though they had Maxey for the stretch of time when Embiid was gone, they never figured out how to win games at a serious clip without Embiid. I think they were 10 and 20 something or whatever, close to that, games without Embiid. They never figured out formula for how to win games without Joel Embiid. This Indiana team, Haliburton went out for a period of time this year, missed some time, and after he came back, he was on a minutes limit. This team was so ingrained in how it played and what it did, and they had, like, a true, like, nice deep roster that they were able to be like, "All right, that's fine. We're not as good. Okay, but we know who we are, and we know how we can play. We're gonna keep playing that way." And they kept playing the same way without Haliburton. And then when Haliburton came and they remade their team with Pascal Siakam, they integrated Siakam right in pretty seamlessly. Like, all the credit in the world to their players, all the credit in the world to their coaching staff, um, all the credit in the world, obviously, to Haliburton and Siakam for figuring out how to play well, even though I think they'll get better as a two-man game moving forward when, A, Haliburton gets healthy, and B, they have an offseason to work on it. So, you know, different opponent. That's all it is. Different opponent. Thank you, AG Black. Bill Peterfriend with another one. I was 12 watching Bernard and grew up with Ewing. King did this versus the Pistons and a bit against the Celtics. It's funny, after I asked that question out loud, my brother texted me because he remembers King. Said the same thing. King was the closest to Brunson, but only with scoring. He wasn't the point guard. That is the difference. Yes. And that's why these stats that keep flying around with 35-plus points and 5+, that's the difference. That's and Brunson tonight, it was 43 and 6 assists. 4 turnovers. So you don't love the assist to turnover ratio tonight. Still pretty good. Thank you, Bill, for chiming in and giving us a little retrospective on the Bernard King years. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? How many mackerel did the Palm Beach Zoo? Oh dear. Let me first say that I've been to the Palm Beach Zoo. The Palm Beach Zoo is a wonderful zoo. It's a good zoo. You know, it's not like the Bronx Zoo, but it's really good. It's a very solid zoo. I'm going to say that. How many mackerel did the Palm Beach Zoo have to toss into the walrus tanks during the game to keep Mark Berman from disturbing the customers with his complaining? Hashtag fish for Berman. Hashtag fire Tibbs. Oh, dear. Did he tweet tonight? I don't think he did. It's probably past his bedtime, or he may just be. They may not allow phones in the tank beyond a certain hour. No tweets from Berman tonight. There's a shocker. Thanks, Juanon. Zach Horowitz, crazy. I once had to debate Brunson versus Hallie. No mas. Look, I'm going to say something that's going to make me a very unpopular Knicks podcaster / Knicks content creator / live stream, post-game live stream host. I think the Brunson-Haliburton debate is going to be... I don't think we've seen the last of it. I'll say that. Now, Brunson's the better player. As a scorer, it's not even close. The fact that Tyrese Haliburton does not have it in him to create offense, like in this current state, is like really notable. And I think the fact that he is struggling so much from three is a reminder that without the threat of his pull-up three, he is a supremely limited player. Like, basically, Haliburton without a pull-up three, with what he does and, more importantly, does not have as far as, like, speed, handle, shiftiness, all that stuff, he's like a... He's top 10 point guard in the league. I don't think he's top 5, and he's certainly not top, like, 1 or 2. But the threat of that pull-up three sets up everything else, because once you get the threat of that pull-up three, teams have to defend him differently, and once teams get to defend him differently, then he's able to do what he does and use all of his trickeration, and then you're on the roller coaster ride all of a sudden. I am assuming in my comment that this will be a debate again, that Haliburton will get healthy, and when he gets healthy, the pull-up three will once again become a threat, and he will go back to being the player who was on a lot of people's first-team All-NBA ballots in the first half of the year. Is that an unfair assumption? Maybe. Maybe he's just not that good of a shooter that he showed at the beginning of this year. I don't know. He's kind of a funky shot. Andrew's telling me in the chat that he stinks. Okay. I don't know. Look, these guys are very different players. And I also think part of the conversation between them is, like, how are you building your team? I mean, it's obviously no question who the Knicks would rather have and who we would rather have. But, Haliburton's really good. He's not right now, and I think he'll be better. I would very much like him not to be better in this series. As Kev is saying, Wally Zerbiak is better in the chat. Ben Kim Gervey. Basketball Reality called John and said, F the narrative. Yeah, no, replace the narrative with the fairy tale. That's where we're at, right? We're not there yet. Look, you won 5 playoff games. Last I checked, you got to win 11. I'd like 3 more. Give me 3 more, and then you go in, and whoever it is, Boston, Cleveland, assuming it'll be Boston, give them hell. Let chips fall where they may.
I'd like to ask you about your math there.
You have 5, you need 11 more, right?
So you just want to lose in the conference finals in 5 games is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we have 5. Last I checked, we need 11.
Oh, you need 11 more is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you just wanted to win 11.
No, I'd love to win 16, which is 11 plus 5.
Okay.
But my larger takeaway is, hi, Andrew, by the way.
Hi.
For me, and I know other Knicks fans may not share this completely, for me, if this team gets to the conference finals, like, all the cans of gravy. I'm going to my local Key Foods, and I'm buying out all the gravy, and I'm going to make a tower of gravy. That's going to be the new backdrop of these post games, because it's all gravy from there. Will they have a chance to, like, beat whoever they face in the conference finals if they get there? Big if. Yeah, of course, because you can't ever count this team out. But, yeah, I mean, just trying to keep things in perspective. That's all.
That's good, and it's why you're the man for the job, to keep things in perspective. If I may add a little recklessness to the proceeds for tonight, I would appreciate it if we just reminded everybody that they not like us. They not like us. They not like us over in Indiana. I see Kevin. John has no idea what's going on right now. They not like us, John. Allie stinks. 6 shots. 6 points tonight.
They not like us. They not like
us.
Can I ask what musician sings this song?
No, it's much funnier that you have no idea what this is. It's a nice beat, though, right?
You got the instrumental. That's fire.
It's just an instrumental?
It's part of a very popular thing that happened this weekend that I was.
Oh wait, is this the diss thing?
Yes, this is the diss thing.
I know who this involves. This involves Drake, and
yes.
I believe did he impregnate someone at an inappropriate age?
No, that's Karl Malone. We're talking about a diss battle, a diss beef. Okay.
Wait, I know the other person. Is it Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick Lamar, yes. And he did a song called Not Like Us that the entire world decided was now a club banger. They were playing it at T-Squared Social in between commercial breaks. That's, yes, called Not Like Us.
Wait,
yes.
Did Drake? I thought Drake was accused of some.
He was accused of some things, but not. There was never a specific thing he was accused of as far as like impregnation. It was just like stop texting Millie Bobby Brown is like the thing that he was accused of. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's like the P word he was also accused of. But listen, OVO, say OVO.
OVO.
What P word?
I'll
Is this
text
like an R.
you.
Kelly situation?
Yes, actually.
So he
That's
pee-peed
it.
on somebody?
No, not that. Not the actual P word.
Oh, different P word.
Yes.
I thought
Yeah,
you were literally
like,
like
you may
pee.
have
More
to
like- more
file
like-
with the government.
Oh,
Jeff
Yes.
Oh, well, you
Like,
don't want to go down that road.
Kendrick made his album cover Drake's house with like the registered P word tag on
no,
it.
you don't want
Yeah.
that. That's not,
Yeah, you don't want that.
Nope.
Oh, well, that all sounds very entertaining. So that's what everybody's been so excited about.
It was a very fun weekend on the internet. Yes, and I'm close to where you are and like old and have no idea what's going on. And my younger sister-in-law and her boyfriend sat me and my wife down, and we just listened to 9 straight songs. And it was like, oh, that's first-person shooter. Got it. And we're so like Kevin, we're so caught up now that I woke up this morning to a text from my wife being like, another one, because
Yeah.
sent another.
They
Dropped another track this last night, apparently.
last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching boxing.
Yeah.
mean,
I was catching up on sleep.
I'm
Yeah.
just happy I know who these people are.
Yes. I'm proud of you for knowing who these people are. They're not like us, John.
No, they're apparently
No.
not. Yeah, no, all the P words. You want to stay away from all that. Pro tip. Shout out to our friendly sponsors at Foreplay. Alex, what's going on, Alex? I changed out of the KFS him t-shirt into the Why Not Now and the black hoodie. It did the trick. Did you talk about the fourth quarter free throw shooting? Jalen Brunson, 14 of 14 free throws. Yeah, no, Brunson was amazing. The fourth quarter free throw shooting, Hart, I mean, he hit all of them, obviously. Brunson hit all of them in the fourth. I think Hart missed one in the fourth. My change at halftime was I watched the first half my downstairs in my apartment, there's a den area, and then there's the office right here. I watched the first half with my wife in the den, and then I was like, we need to change things up. So I watched the second half in my office, and that seemed to do the trick. Thanks, Alex. Sam L. Wonder how Cam Reddish is doing. Stop it. I'm sure Cam's doing lovely right now. Talk about guys that wouldn't have gotten in this game. Salute J-Mac and KFS. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you, man. Bernard, someone check in on Jay Williams. Jay Williams, the former Bulls point guard who does like commentary now. Yeah, I'm assuming that's the Jay Williams you're talking about. What? I don't even know, what did he say?
So today, I put Kev over there. So today, Jay Williams went on a little show called First Take and said, Batum and Kelly Oubre.
We're like old.
Like old, exactly.
Yeah.
And said that was it Neesmith, Kev, was now going to shut down Jalen Brunson. And someone tweeted at Jay Williams and then Jay Williams doubled down on the take and said, old and didn't defend him well is what Batum and Oubre were, and said Neesmith is a different story. And then our very own Benji Ritholtz said Neesmith was so disciplined this year that he fouled Brunson 6 times over the 2 games that they played. He fouled him 4 times tonight, so we're up to 10 for the disciplined defender, Aaron Neesmith.
That's how I knew about this, because I saw Benji's quote tweet. Look, again, I'm not saying, Bernard, that you're getting annoyed at this. To anyone who gets annoyed by any of these things, these are people who are put in these positions to entertain. They are not there to inform or educate or analyze. Jay Williams is a very smart basketball mind. He needs to go on television and say things that are going to get people to watch the next thing that he says. So please don't waste your time getting annoyed by any of this. It is all utter nonsense. Thank you, Bernard. And then I think after this, this is it. Robert W. Cross, first time, long time with your boy John. The only debate right now is whether Jalen Brunson is a top 5 NBA player. He is, in my mind. Are we finishing this off with a list? Top 5 NBA players right now? Man. Top 5 NBA players right now. That's hard to do without being caught in the moment.
Keyword in that sentence is now.
I mean, how do you have a top 5 NBA players without having Anthony Edwards in the conversation?
Right, so he's one.
So top 5 NBA players right now, man. I don't know what his stat line was tonight. I'm not leaving Jokic off the list. I'm sorry. What was Jokic's stat line tonight? This is, by the way, freaking, you want to talk about wild? Absolutely wild stuff that went on in Denver tonight. I cannot, final score 106-80. Jokic in that game, and I'm sure he was not great on defense. 16, 16, and 8. 5 or 13 from the field. That's not what you want. Okay. So I'm going to go Jokic is on there. Let's put Brunson and Anthony Edwards on there. And let's put Luka and SGA. So we're leaving off Giannis, which is hard.
The eliminated Giannis.
We eliminated Giannis. Well, the Pacers actually eliminated Giannis. Didn't play, but they eliminated Giannis. I don't know. How does that list sound to you?
That's the list I think Robert is pertaining to, and it's the one I would say right now, too. It's the keywords here are right now, which is who's left.
I tell you, you know who looked like he wanted to be part of that conversation over the last 48 to 72 hours?
Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
Nice. We can make it a top 6 conversation. He could be 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say anything about this offseason. Thank you, Robert. Last one, I believe, Robert W. Cross, legend of GMAC, 3 more victories away from the KFS party bus.
Robert? No. That's all I got. No. I mean, look, if your loony bin is renting out the bus and wants to drive it all the way out here to New York to park around the corner from T Squared Social, let's do it, Robert. Absolutely.
Oh, this is cute. There's some person on the internet who's saying the NBA is rigging games for the Knicks.
You said person as if it's not a lot of people saying that on the internet today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is the minor gist of what I caught from the I had a night with the Long Island Railroad tonight, so I wasn't necessarily tuned into either the post game or my phone, but when I finally got to where I needed to be, just a few scrolls, and it was a lot of people saying, like, you know, what's funny is Sixers fans saying, like, this is what we had to deal with for 6 games. Wow. And it's like, because we didn't have to deal with Joel Embiid for 6 games. Listen,
Sixers.
This is why the Knicks got the 2 seed, so they can have a home whistle. You know,
Sixers fans, their collective opinion is the equivalent to a fucking wet shit at this point. So I don't really have much respect for what they say. If I was a Pacer fan, I'd be really peeved tonight, and I'd be really annoyed, and I would have trouble sleeping, and the whole thing. I absolutely would. All of that. All of the things. And it's unfortunate that there was not a perfect whistle down the stretch. These things tend to even out in the long run, you know? And, again, I'll just say it one last time. You could be given a fortuitous situation to take advantage of. You must take advantage of it. And there were 3 Knicks out there tonight who took advantage of a situation as much as any 3 Knicks have ever taken advantage of a situation in the same game. So credit to them for doing it. Credit to Kevin for producing tonight. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Kevin?
Yeah, we have one more super chat from my guy Robbie Cross.
Is me crazy? Am I crazy? I don't know. Robert, you're crazy. Because Josh Hart reminds me of Charles Barkley. I mean, the round mound and rebound, they're the same height. We can say that. They're the same height. Slightly different offensive players, but in terms of their impact, just flying around the court and messing stuff up, I don't think that's nuts.
Robert, you could have ended the sentence after crazy. Is my crazy? Yes, Robert. Is you crazy? Indeed. And we love you for it.
Robert.
You is crazy. You is like us. You're a Knicks fan, and you're crazy too. But them Pacers fans. Dear Indiana, I'm sorry that man is your point guard.
Well, that's a shame. Kev, thank you for tonight. Andrew Claudio, thank you for tonight.
Yes.
Chiming in and go and have. How was T Squared Social? Good.
Listen, shout out T Squared. We are 4-0 at watch parties these playoffs, and shout out to everybody that came out there on a Monday night. I was talking to Daniel. I was a little bummed because I thought the turnout was low, and they were like, we'd have 3 people here if it wasn't a Knicks watch party. So the fact that we had like 40, 50 people there was actually pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
Thank you everybody for coming. That came out tonight for coming tonight, and you can join us this Friday for another watch party for Game 3. Not for Game 2, unfortunately. They have an event going on, but for Game 3, we'll have something going. I believe something else is happening this Friday, but I can't put my finger on. John, what else is happening this Friday?
I don't know. Thanks everybody for watching another post-game show here.
Wait, isn't it one of my close friends? Hold on. There's a significant day in one of my close friends' life. Hold on.
Finish the show, please.
Okay.
I got to write a newsletter. It's 12:45 a.m. and I'm hungry. Thank
Someone's
you.
Birthday on Friday? I can't remember.
Thank you, everybody.
Side off. You're good.
Thank you, everybody, for watching another post-game live stream. Don't forget to please take care of us in the most important way, which is to show your support either by subscribing to this channel, liking the video. Please like the video. And what else? 5-star rating on the podcast. Leave a kind review. Sign up for the Knicks Film School newsletter. Free to sign up. You get a free edition in your inbox every Monday. Just go to Substack or Google Knicks Film School Substack. You'll be directed to a sign-up link. Follow all the good folks here at Knicks Film School on Twitter or any social media platforms they are on. I'll be back talking to DJ and Benji tomorrow night. We will talk to y'all soon. Peace out.